Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here, as the recording of this Thursday, December 26th, 2024. It's beginning to look a lot like post-Christmas. A hawk just flew off right there, I missed it. Here on the backside of 7-Eleven, it was like right up there in the tree, and it flew off that way, and I completely missed it flying off. It kind of startled me. I didn't know what to think of it because I wasn't expecting a hawk to fly by there. So I want to make my way over to St. Pete today. My first time going to St. Pete in a while. In fact, over the last series of years, I have gone to downtown St. Pete a multitude of times. 100 times? Probably pretty close. Tampa Bay Rays wearing an appropriate hat here are in a little bit of a discombobulation confusion right now. 2 months ago, Tropicana Field was destroyed in a hurricane, ripped the roof off, and the reason that they cannot quickly repair the roof is because it's going to be millions of dollars that someone doesn't want to pay for, whether it be owner of the Rays, the owners of the Rays, the city, the county. It's all so confusing. It's hard to even keep up. Every day there's a new development. They're going to be playing next year, the 2025 season, at Steinbrenner Field, spring training facility for the New York Yankees, and possibly for the next few years. Who knows? I may have seen my last game, unbeknownst to me, at Tropicana Field. And since the news broke, I have not been over there and seen it with my own eyes. I think about a month or so ago, my good buddy Tampa Jay, who's also a big Rays follower, advocate, fan, went by, kind of paid his respects to the Trop. Now it's my turn. I'm going to go by, see what it looks like now, and also stop by Steinbrenner Field on the way there, and then also do some downtown St. Pete stuff. Long intro, I know, but it's good to have you here. I'm inviting you to join me. Shall you? Now next year, I don't know how many games I'm going to be going to, because I am going to be doing a little more traveling than normal. And I've completed my all 30 current MLB stadiums, even though I'm going to have 2 more to add on seeing the Rays play in the Major League Baseball season, non-spring training, which would be Steinbrenner Field, and then Sacramento, where the former Oakland A's will be playing. Traffic looks like about an hour and 40 minutes to go the 85 miles to the former, well, still Tropicana Field. Yeah, slow going here on the exit, but I think it's going to smooth out a little bit. Traffic shouldn't be too bad because it is the day after Christmas. So a lot of people are still at the destination that they arrived at, and they haven't started traveling back yet. So I imagine it'll be a little smoother than normal. Hopefully. Crossing my fingers. I may be incorrect in my assumption on how I-4 is going to be. I-4 eastbound looking pretty nutty. Westbound's backed up a little bit, but it's still showing a little smoother than it usually is. Also, Steinbrenner Field, 20 miles closer to me from Celebration than the Trop. So next year, if I do go to any home games, which are kind of in a weird home stadium, 20 miles closer drive commute for me, which is going to be nice. And now westbound is pretty backed up. Looks like it's getting worse as the day progresses. That's all part of the experience. There's Santa Claus waving goodbye to Christmas from a toilet. I also wonder how long this empty boat, it used to be a restaurant of some sort, now it's just a boat sitting here by Dinosaur World. Like, how long is that empty thing gonna sit there? It's been there for like 20 years. Right there off the side of the road. Ah, the Tampa skyline. There you are. There you are. All right, there it is. Steinbrenner Field, where the Yankees spring train, and also their minor league Tarpons also play in here. Now, from what the rumor mill, the Rays are going to be paying the Yankees $15 million. That's what I was hearing. To rent this facility for 1 season. Which not exactly, you know, rivals in the AL East. You really don't want to be giving your AL East rivals $15 million, but at least they're helping out. They're doing some construction in here. I don't know if it has anything to do with the Rays being in here, but yeah. We can get through here. And the Tarpons, who are their farm team, they usually play here, but from what I was hearing, again, all rumor mill stuff, it's probably been confirmed, but they are going to be moving and playing elsewhere, so the farm team for the Yankees will not be in here. And I'm also wondering if the Rays, if they're paying that many millions of dollars to rent this facility, are they going to put all the Tampa Bay Rays stuff up, or is it all going to be full Yankees? Obviously, you know, the Yankees Hall of Fame here, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, that'll all remain. But will they remove, you know, all the logos and stuff and make it Rays? Time will tell. And there's Mr. Steinbrenner right there, a sculpture of himself. So this will be the home of the Tampa Bay Rays for 2025, possibly 26 and 27. It's so up in the air. It is such a confusing, historically irritating scenario that has not been decided on. Again, every day, every few days, every week, there's a new development. This is where they're going to be playing, right inside there. Originally, I had hoped, when there was a little small inkling of hope that they could possibly go to Wide World of Sports at Disney, that would be right down the road for me in Celebration, which would be nice. I will not be going to as many baseball games in 25 as I did in 24, 23, and 22. Those 3 years were very intense. I have now knocked off all 30 current MLB stadiums seeing the Tampa Bay Rays, which was quite a challenge. I didn't just go to all 30 stadiums to just see random games. I went to see my team and root for my team, and I'm glad I accomplished that. Also this year, I knocked off my 50th state. So I've been to all 50 states and all current 30 MLB stadiums. Now, like I was saying, 25, when the Rays play here, I will be able to knock off my 31st stadium seeing the Rays play a regular season MLB game. I'm not counting spring training stadiums. Even though this is a spring training games, I'm not counting those. But if they're playing a regular season game, one of their 162 games, in a spring training stadium, then I'm counting that. So this will be my 31st. And at some point, we'll see the Rays play in Sacramento, where the California A's or the Sacramento A's, whatever the heck they're going to be called before they move to Vegas, are going to be playing. Here's the interesting thing. What if the Rays make it to the postseason, go deep in the postseason, and this is their home field? What if they won the World Series? I mean, this is like a huge crossing the fingers. But what if they won the World Series? This only holds 10,000 people. What would MLB do? They'd have to move the series to a different stadium, a bigger stadium. They don't want to only have 10,000 tickets sold for a World Series. And then Oakland. What about Oakland? Sacramento. What if they go deep in the playoffs next year? Next year's going to be a weird, wacky year for baseball. All right, heading over to Tropicana. I think maybe there was a little hurricane damage here that they are fixing. I think that's what they're doing. So will the big Yankees gear be up there? This is a nice stadium, too. I went and saw the Rays spring training game last year against the Yankees, before the regular season of 24. It was my first time attending a game and sitting in the good seats, like up behind home plate. I've been to one other game, but I kind of had like in the outfield, and it's a nice setup. It's a nice setup, so going to games there is going to be nice. However, it's not in a dome. It's not going to be 72 degrees. It's going to be in the sun and the elements, in the heat. All right, I pulled over right here off the side, kind of looking. This is my first view of the Trop since it's been destroyed with my own eyes. I've seen it on pictures and things like that, but yeah, that is wild. So part of the roof still remained. 3/4 of the roof was kind of disintegrated and ripped to shreds by the hurricane a couple months ago, but they have since pulled off the remaining portion, and now it's just the shell. It's like the skeleton of Tropicana Field over there, which is just seeing this. I was pulling in here to the St. Pete skyline, Wow, I'm getting closer. All right, going through the tunnel from I parked over at Ferg's. Here is the reveal of Tropicana Field without its roof. Now I know the first thing, a lot of people when they think they saw the field, first instinct or the first thing you would think of is, well, why don't they just tear the rest of the roof off and just play in an open air stadium like a lot of other teams do? And that would make sense except for the fact that this stadium was not originally built as a baseball stadium. It's a multi-purpose hockey-esque stadium. I think it was originally built for hockey. And then when the Rays took it over, they converted it into a mostly baseball facility, even though they do other events here as well. But it is not set up for drainage. So you would not be able to just start playing in there. It would take a complete renovation, probably be easier to tear it down, which they were going to do anyway. Originally, so the Rays made this whole statement last year, before I bought my house. I bought my house a year ago. And before that, few months before that, the Rays put this whole campaign out, here to stay, here to stay. They did a whole press conference, they did it inside Tropicana Field, talking about how in January of 2025, they were gonna break ground in one of the areas around here. This section, probably the parking lot, general vicinity. They were going to put shovels in the ground in January, coming up what would have been next month. And then in 3 years, the new stadium was going to open somewhere over in here. Then after that, after a season of that, of playing in the new stadium, starting in 2028, I believe it was, they would start tearing, imploding, destroying the old Tropicana Field. Whatever the new stadium would be called would be the new home. That all changed when the hurricane came through. I don't know the ins and outs, the red tape, I don't really know what the heck happened. All I know is the Rays are not playing in here next year, and I have a pretty good feeling the Rays will never play baseball in here again. I have most likely have attended my last Tampa Bay Rays game in Tropicana Field. And if I had known last season was going to be the last one, I probably would have gone to the last ever game. I went to the game a couple weeks before the end of the season, so I was finishing up all the other stadiums. But man, what a mess. And you know, Mother Nature, you cannot, act of God, you have no handle on that, cannot change any of that. Now you would just look at this and think, oh, you just, clean the inside out, take that top portion off. It would be really cool to see the Trop as an open air stadium. I'd be for it. I mean, it is nice to be sitting in 72 degrees, air conditioned all the time. But I would be all for sitting in there. However, any rain from that hurricane a few months ago till now has all culminated and puddled up inside there. Lots of damage inside there because it has nowhere to drain. Meaning, if they just ripped the roof off, cleaned it up, fixed everything that needed to be fixed, still every time it rains, it's going to be immense mass flooding, which does not work. So they have solved a temporary solution. They have solved next year. And they're playing Steinbrenner Field, where the Yankees farm team plays. But this is just eerily weird. So many times for 3 years. Went to tons of home games. Tons of them. The security checkpoint was right there to go into the ballpark and rec. You could get in 2 hours before, or you could line up over here an hour and a half before and go through the main gate. Also the team store, most likely waterlogged, destroyed, so that is not open. The Bay Republic store. I did not think that I was going to be able to walk this close. I am kind of surprised. Now, when the storm came through, they had a hurricane disaster response set up inside there, and evidently everyone got out of there in time before anyone was hurt being in there. They had cots all set up, plenty of photos online of all that happened. But this is just eerie. Peeling out in the parking lot over there. Yeah, this is, there's a little, either a news copter or an officer over there. flying, or maybe not a news copter, maybe a police helicopter. Yeah, really just seeing this with my own eyes, it just hit me. I mean, the night of the hurricane, I was watching online the newscast showing it from a distance of that roof just swaying in the breeze, being destroyed. I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, this is my home field. So many memories here. And now it's just this. So there's been a lot of different votes with the county, with the city, with the owners, with the, again, it is a mess. But evidently, it's an issue of money. Who wants to spend, do the Rays ownership, the city, the county, I don't know if the state's involved, but it's all who wants to spend what kind of dough and their percentage for the new stadium. There's also very heavy rumblings of the team moving. Now, I will say, a percentage of the reason I purchased a house in Celebration, not all of it. My parents do live in Central Florida, to be close to them. I love Walt Disney World. I have a lot of ties to Central Florida. But if the team left, if they went to Salt Lake City, if they went to Nashville, if they moved somewhere else, I don't think they will. I don't think MLB wants the Rays to leave Florida. Not Central Florida, but the coast of Florida, Florida in general. I don't think that the MLB wants them to do that, because I believe the places that I mentioned that there are rumblings that possibly the Rays could go to, I think Major League Baseball wants those to be expansion teams down there. I think they want to add more than the current amount of teams that are out there. But if the Rays leave St. Pete, let's not say St. Pete, Tampa Bay area, if they don't go to Ybor, if they don't go to Orlando, if they don't go to Tampa proper, if they don't stay in St. Pete, in my lifetime, there will never be another Major League Baseball team in Central Florida. And that's going to kind of weigh heavy on me, because when I'm older, whole thing I thought of, when I'm older, you know, in my relaxing years, it would just be nice to cruise over, go to a game, keep supporting the Rays. And I won't be able to do that if they're elsewhere. So that might come into change of plans, you know, who knows? I'm not saying I'm going to up and move if the Rays leave, but I want baseball. I like baseball. I like the Rays. I want to watch baseball my golden years, assuming I live that long. So yeah. Many, many times I waited right here to go through security. Walked up here, was greeted by Raymond and DJ Kitty. Oh, wow. Oh, usually there's some of the players, Yandy would be up there, or Pete Fairbanks, this big poster right up there. All that's gone, ripped down, taken off. You also think of the damage that's in there when it comes to all the inner workings and electronics. So right here is a digital screen, which is usually on during game day. And that's probably broken. Or at least the one inside, the massive screen that's inside. Look at this. You just think high winds and high rain on things that were not expected to be weatherproofed, because you didn't need to be weatherproof, where other stadiums that have things outdoors, where this everything was always indoors. That right there is a very telling image of Tropicana Field. Wow. It's going to cost them a lot of money to play at Steinbrenner, not just the 15 or so million they got to play the Yankees, but there's less ticket sales. Granted, no more than 10 to 15,000 a game came here. The Rays have a lackluster support from the area, so they never really sell out games. However, it will be a smaller venue, and you think of advertisements that are placed all around the inside of Trop. There's less space for those advertisements over at Steinbrenner. Probably a limited amount of, contracts they have to make money from companies and things. It'll all just go out the window. So it's a big hit to the wallet for the Rays. And they have money. All owners have money. So it's just interesting to see how much they're going to dish out and make this work. Florida's love affair with baseball began in St. Pete in 1914. There's also Al Lang Stadium, which I think is where the soccer team plays. There was rumors about maybe converting that into the baseball, but that's not going to happen. Or at least they haven't announced it. Here's the store. Here's the Bay Republic store. These hours, obviously, are not correct. You know, honestly, it looks like it's in really good shape in there. Maybe they have opened. You know, maybe the store has been open. That's interesting, because the store does not, the inside of the store does not look too damaged, and some of the clothing items look pretty good shape. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Not open today, obviously, because it's the day after Christmas. They're normally closed on Sundays. I cannot imagine that it's open, but you know what? What do I know? Many memories in here over the last few years. I saw Wade Boggs. He was brought into the Rays Baseball Hall of Fame. And here's one of his. He hit his 3,000th hit in here. They got the yellow seat amongst the blue seats inside. What a weird way to end the season. Rays did not make the postseason last year, which is the first time in like 5 years or so. And right, you know, it's interesting. My mom and dad came over to stay with me during the hurricane just because I felt like we should all kind of be together. And I felt my place was a little safer than their home, so they decided to come over. And before the news broke, before the roof blew off of this, my dad and I were having a conversation, and I thought, what if, this is when the baseball postseason was happening. And I remember my dad and I were talking, and I brought up the point, what if the Rays went deep in the postseason, and there was a hurricane coming through, and the whole coast of Florida was shut down for the hurricane during the playoffs? Where would the Rays and their opponent play at if they couldn't play at Tropicana Field? Now, they did not make the postseason, so it didn't really matter. But what if they had? And what if they were knee-deep in the postseason and this happened? Right? Just what a wacky turn of events. The Rays Garden. I think the best scenario, if they decide to stay in St. Pete, if they decide to stay in this area, so they were going to obviously be playing in here for 3 more years while they built the new stadium, but they're never going to play in here again. I mean, it would take so much money to fix it, fix the drainage problem. I don't even know if even fixing the drainage problem would be a thing, because you'd have to have the drainage problem come out and dump into here. I don't know the ins and outs of construction of a stadium, but then it would be just a temporary fix. Or the multi-millions of dollars to fix the roof, they could do that, but then the stadium is only going to be here for a couple of years. They were going to tear the stadium down anyway. So really deciding on where the new stadium is going to be, whether it's here or in this parking lot or in Ybor or in Orlando or wherever, or in St. Pete, Fairgrounds, I think makes the most sense. It's, you know, kind of like a good central location to the coast and Orlando and Tampa and St. Pete. But really, expediting the tearing down of this would probably make the most sense. Again, just thinking out loud. That was just so eerie, so eerie. I don't know how many more times I'm going to be right here in this area. If they never play here again, let's say they don't build the new stadium, how many more times are we going to come? I mean, obviously, if they start imploding this, you know, if I'm in town, I'll come document that. But also, even if they never play in here again, it'd be kind of nice if they just let people go in one last time to pay their respects inside. Ah, there's Yandy Diaz right there. I don't even know if he's coming back. He signed a 2-year contract with the Rays. They got rid of a lot of players last year. About 3/4 of the way, they kind of gave up on the postseason, dumped a lot of players at the trade deadline. That was a disappointing year last year, even before the turn of events. And also, what will happen to Ferg's? Ferg's is kind of like the Rays bar. I mean, obviously it's a local bar also, but on game days, it's pretty busy. So if it loses all that business, Ferg's is going to take a hit to the wallet also. It's gracious. So there's the A, B, and C ring. know how many times I've seen pop-ups hit that? Very rare. A couple times even balls got stuck up in the rafters. And now just seeing it open air like that is just very weird and eerie. Very, very eerie. To me anyway, because many times I've been in, I've probably been in that stadium 100 times. And now just seeing it, knowing I can't go in right now, like normally I'd be here getting ready to wait for the gates to open to go in. And even driving across the bridge, there's a big bridge going from Tampa to St. Pete. Seeing, before you'd be able to drive and look over to the left as you're going towards, out of Tampa into St. Pete, and you could see the skyline would have the Trop. And I couldn't figure out where the Trop was anymore from across the bay because the roof was gone. It was weird, I couldn't pinpoint. The skyline changed. So how's the Rays up there? I mean, I know they're hoping for all this to be rectified. I am also. Definitely just gonna roll with the punches on what the situation is, and if they move, it's meant to be. If they don't move, if they stay here, I'll be supporting the team. And I mean, even if they move to another place, I'll still follow the organization. And it's just an very interesting scenario here. Standing, thinking with one with my thoughts here at the world's famous Fergs. And no clue what Big Boy's thought process is on this. What do you think of all this, Big Boy? No thoughts? Just seeing this, knowing that there's no designated team going to be here is bizarre. Now that is something. I saw some images of this online where the storm took that pole and bent it sideways. That is a telling image right there. Look at that. That stanchion pole in the ground that says home of the Rays, Tropicana Field. All up in the air now. That is not guaranteed. They are not here to stay, at least for now. Well, Christmas was yesterday, it's over, Santa's leaving town. Back to the North Pole. Classic carnival. Just look how beautiful this sunset is. I'm gonna just sit here for a moment and bask in it before going down to the end of the, I do want to walk down to the end of the pier, but yeah, this is downtown St. Pete, the skyline, right here at the dock and the boats and everything. Beautiful, very beautiful. Hope the Rays stay in this area. I really do. This little tiki boat right there going across the sunset. Distance there, it's nice. Take a look at this mural here. Interesting. I can't tell what he's holding. He's holding something. There's his head up there at the top of the building. Pretty cool. Some really good murals in St. Pete. Back home now, and I was looking at the Rays schedule for spring training and then going into the regular season. So it looks like opening day is going to be March 28th. So everything in blue, they're going up against the Rockies on opening day. Starting the 28th is the regular season. The blue is starting the regular season. Everything else is spring training. But pretty much the first 2 or 3 months of the season, they're playing everything in Florida. And the reason they're doing that is because once it gets past the first, there's only like a week or two of away games in the first few months. And then once it starts getting into July, there's more away games. Because in Florida in July, there will be so many rain delays. We're playing outdoors. Beauty of Tropicana Field was it was closed, so you don't have those rain delays. There's going to be a lot of doubleheaders, rain delays, etc. in the summertime. Last game is at the end of September against Toronto. That's an away game. But everything in blue is going to be played at Steinbrenner Field. In fact, some teams, MLB had to completely change the scheduling to be able to have so many home games
at the Yankee spring training Steinbrenner for the Rays in order to be able to play there. They had to readjust some of the other teams' schedule as well. So it's definitely going to be a weird year. But that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. The vlog is over. Oh yeah, one last thing. Bonus footage. Noticing here, ATH, that's the Athletics. Just the Athletics, not the California Athletics, not the Oakland Athletics, not the Vegas Athletics. Just ATH, the Athletics. The Athletics will be playing away from their farm team stadium in Sacramento, and they'll be playing at a farm team stadium in Florida. Weird.